Good morning. Why don't you take a minute and say hello to the people around you? And we'll ring the chimes when we need to settle you down. Thank you, Marjorie. Marjorie was our chimer this morning. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Danbury. It's nice to see everybody this morning. My name is Todd Zagorek. I'm with the Sunday Services team. My wife Melanie and I have been coming here for 14 years now. And despite that, I still usually forget to wear my name tag. So not today, I remembered it today. So never hesitate to come and ask me who I think I am if you're not sure. So let's start with, we have an announcement this morning. At the General Assembly, the UU General Assembly in 2020, a date marking the 400th year since the arrival of the Mayflower and the English invasion of Wampanoag territory in what we know as Massachusetts today, an action of immediate witness called for congregations to research, identify, and acknowledge the indigenous peoples historically and or currently connected with the land occupied by congregations, and find ways to act in solidarity with or even partner with those indigenous peoples. For those who don't know, or as a reminder, an action of immediate witness at the General Assembly is a statement about a significant action, event, or development in the world that necessitates immediate engagement and action among UU member congregations and groups. Today, we welcome the clan mother and tribal head leader of the Golden Hill Pagusset tribe, Sharan Wapatukwe Piper, who is over there. She will speak to us. I'm really looking forward to it. This is an opportunity for us to begin to build relationships with the people whose ancestors first lived on the land that we now call Western Connecticut, including the land under our feet today that we like to call Clapboard Ridge Road. Our Unitarian Universalist faith and our hearts and minds call us to embark on this journey. But before we hear from the clan mother, we have the usual elements of our service, starting with the chalice lighting, which Darlene Anderson Alexander will lead.
So I think the Phillips family is going to help light the chalice. And the words are on the screen and in your order of service. Do we know how to do that together? Okay. So we'll say them together. Love is the spirit of this congregation, and justice is its light. This is our covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek and speak the truth in love, to help one another and celebrate life.
Please rise in body or spirit to sing hymn number 131, Love Will Guide Us.
Hold on, Nancy.
Don't rise yet.
All right, this is it.
Now you may rise.
Now you may rise.
Here's our starting note. Love will guide us, leads us, guide us, hope inside us, will lead the way on the road from free to giving. Love will guide us through the hard night. If you cannot see like angels, if you cannot speak before thousands, who can live from deep within you? Love will shine with your love will guide us, peace has tried us, hope inside us, will lead the way on the road from free to living. Love will guide us through the hard night.
Okay, get your UUs out. It's time for the children's affirmation. We are Unitarian Universalists. We're people with open minds, loving hearts, helping hands. We care for the earth and each other. And now we have a story that you can follow on the screen. After which Nancy Hirschhatter will then lead us and the children in a song before they go downstairs for religious education.
George Littlechild is an artist who has exhibited his art in galleries across Canada and in the United States, Europe, and Japan. He is also a children's book illustrator and author. This is one of his books. It's called This Land Is My Land. George is a member of the Plains Cree Nation, which is part of the Cree Nation, the largest Indian nation in Canada, which is the very large country north of the United States. His native lineage comes through his mother.
Here is the dedication page of This Land is My Land. George wrote, "For my ancestors, I thank you for surviving when so many did not. You make me proud of who I am because of who you were." This is one of George's paintings. You can see a photograph of him when he visited New York City for the first time in 1989 when he was 31 years old. And this picture was taken just 2 years ago. George wants this painting to remind us all that this land that we are on was once Indian land. He tells a story from his childhood. When I was a boy, I was taught the song, "This land is your land, this land is my land." When I got older, I thought it was very strange to be singing about the ownership of the land. Whose land was this? Did it belong to anyone? The first people in this land were the Indians. We prefer to be called First Nations or First Peoples because this was our homeland first. This is a painting of a man from the Cree Nation looking at Christopher Columbus. George writes, "When Columbus came to the Americas 500 years ago, he looked at the people he saw and called us Indians because he was on the way to India." The man in my painting is looking at Columbus and he is totally surprised. I too would have been surprised if I had been there. Who are these men whose skin is so pale? Have they come from the spirit world to guide us? What do they want, these men who are not like us? I remember hearing about Columbus at school when I was a boy. The teacher said he was a great man because he had discovered America. Even then I wondered how Columbus could have discovered America when my people were already here. Since Columbus came to the Americas, my people have lost most of their land and we have suffered much. Knowing what I do now about our history, I would have offered Columbus a meal and a place to stay and treated him as a guest, but I would not have allowed him to take away our land. Today the grown-ups will be listening to the clan mother of the Paugussett people. Her ancestors lived on this land where our congregation gathers way before this building was here, way before this was farmland. This land that we are on today was not discovered by white settlers. It was already here.
Test. The song that we are singing, 1492. Words are by Nancy Schimmel, but the melody is a traditional one, and I'm sure you'll recognize it. I'm going to play the melody once through. Okay, I'm going to sing it through. Follow the words on your screen. In 1492, Columbus sailed the ocean blue. He didn't know what he thought he knew. Someone was already here. Columbus knew the world was round. He looked for the east while westward bound. He didn't find what he thought he found. Someone was already here. The Inuit and Cherokee, Aztec and Menominee, Onondaga and the Cree. We got the clap right. Columbus sailed across the sea. Someone was already here. It isn't like 'twas empty space. Dinos met him face to face. Could anyone discover the place when someone was already here? So tell me who discovered what? He thought he was in a different spot. Columbus was lost. The Dinos were not. They were already here. The Inuit and Cherokee, Aztec and Menominee, Onondaga and the Cree. Columbus sailed across the sea. Someone was already here. Someone was already here. We're going to sing that part one more time while Yvonne and Allie and the children go down to RE. Instead of singing our usual This Little Light, we're going to sing this. The Inuit and Cherokee, Aztec and Menominee, Onondaga and the Cree. Columbus sailed across the sea. Someone was already here. Someone was already here. Someone was already here. Our reading this morning, can everyone hear me, is called Two-Spirited Individuals, and it's from the book Red Road, which is by Clan Mother. And we have the good fortune to be hosting this morning. Two-spirited individuals. Two spirits are male and female or intersex. We welcome all two-spirited individuals with open arms. This is imperative because many people of the LGBTQIA community may find a safe haven within Indigenous culture. Here in America, this is the only culture that speaks about uplifting, that so many people find refuge in that, but we want to talk more about this. We want to speak about the beautiful nature of being two-spirited and the ugly truth of not recognizing it. As I've mentioned, they are powerful individuals and they are also very talented. They are spiritually gifted. All of them that I've met are born with certain gifts. Can they hold roles, medicine bundles? Can they have the title as Clan Mother? In certain tribes, I don't know, but in my tribe, I would accept it and say yes. The ancestors, Creator, they have blessed us with the third gender, and they know what's best for us. Whatever's been placed on the reservation is for the Great Spirit to know. When it comes to being two-spirited, no one has the authority to negate or dishonor this individual, since the Creator, the elders, and the ancestors have placed them here in this space. Not only do they belong, but they have a purpose.
And we loved that reading because we thought it was very much in line with our views as Unitarian Universalists and being a welcoming congregation. So we loved that. So now Milestones is a time in our service when we come together as a community in quiet contemplation. It is a time for a deep sharing of personal difficulties as well as reasons for celebration. In order to create this safe space for each other, we refrain from making announcements or sharing political opinions. In the spirit of covenant and love, I invite those of you who would like to silently place a stone in the water to come up and do so now. And for those on Zoom, feel free to put a little X in the chat box, indicating that you are holding something in your heart. And then following silent milestones, I will invite folks to come up with first their spoken milestones. Sound the chime, and we'll just take a moment of silence to think about all of the important things that we're holding in our hearts, and maybe think of some peaceful thoughts for the world, and then Nancy will lead us into Spirit of Life.
Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots will be closed, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
We've come to the offertory portion of our service where we contribute to everything that the congregation does, all the services that are offered and everything that happens here. If you you may send a check to 24 Clapboard Ridge Road. You can take advantage of the QR code that is on your screen. You can go to the website at any time to give online, and we very much appreciate your generosity. It helps a lot, and it provides important services for every member of the congregation. If you're visiting with us for the first time, or you're not a member of the congregation, please don't make a donation. Your presence here with us is your gift to us. Thank you.
Could you love me if I don't look like you? Is it deeper? Is it stronger? Something hidden, something true. If I stare a little longer, will I see myself in you? Could you love me if I don't look like you? Could you love me if I don't think like you? Is it deeper? Is it stronger? Something hidden, something true. If I stare a little longer, will I see myself in you? Could you love me if I don't look like you? Life's a burning candle, and it would be a shame if we ignored the difference between the smoke and the flame. Could you love me if I don't pray like you? Is it deeper? Is it stronger? Something hidden, something true. If I stare a little longer, will I see myself in you? Could you love me if I don't pray like you? This moment is a miracle, so why not find a way to be here and be grateful that we share another day? Could you love me if I don't love like you? Is it deeper? Is it stronger? Something hidden, something true. If I stare a little longer, will I find myself in you? Could you love me if I am not like you?
Today we are honored to have as our guest speaker the clan mother and tribal head leader of the Paugussett people, Sharan Wapatuquet Piper. And she will share with us her perspective as the spiritual leader of the Paugussett people today. And I won't take any more of her time. Thank you.
Sego, in my language, Sego means greetings. Thankful and honored to be here today. My name is, like Tad said, clan mother Sharan Wapatuquet Piper. Wapatuquet in our language means white fawn. So that's our Indian name. That's our name that's given to us. So our naming ceremony is kind of like a baptism. So that's how we receive our name. So I'm tribal head leader of our tribe. I was looked upon at a very young age by my grandmother, Chiefess Rising Star. She was a chiefess and clan mother. And then growing up older and raised at my father's knee and learned at a very young age, like at the age of 10, I knew how to like write a check. I knew how to grocery shop, cook, coupon, all of that. So I still had time to go outside and play on the reservation, but I still had to learn a lot. I didn't understand too much, but I used to just watch all the women, listen to my dad, and binders of documents that, at that young age, I really didn't know. My father, he was Chief Beagle. He was a chief. He was the successor from my grandmother, and then I was his successor. I was named over 6 different times from my father since 2003. I'm also the medicine woman and spiritualist of our tribe. I'm also a spokesperson on Indigenous rights. I do a lot of panels. I do a lot of different discussions traveling around on missing, murdered Indigenous women and also Two-Spirit gender. I was born and raised on the Trumbull Reservation, still reside there till today, which is the oldest continuing reservation since 1659. We have another reservation in Connecticut, which is Colchester, which is, well, from here, from Trumbull, it's like an hour and a few minutes, a little more from coming from Danbury way, but it's near like Norwich, like maybe 10, 15 minutes from the casinos for those that might not know where Colchester is. So I wrote the questions down that a lot of people had. They were great questions. So I'm going to go through those questions. I'll read the question first so that everybody knows, and then I'll give the answer. But before I get to that, we have our reservations are open free of charge for tour. You can call or email, make an appointment. We are on social media. We try to keep everybody up to date on in-house tribal and also out-house, like intertribal, without surrounding tribes, whether it's in Connecticut, whether it's outside of Connecticut. So anytime, even after today, if you have any questions, Tidy has my permission to forward social media or emails. If you're not on social media, that's fine. Some of our stuff is open to the public. Some of it is just in-house private ceremony. And you'll see that as I get to a lot of the questions, which it will all sum up a lot of it. So, and I don't want to take up too much time either. So I don't want to. Okay. Let's see. So what is a clan mother and how was she chosen and what are her duties? So as growing up, you're looked upon, again, like a very young age to see who can carry the medicine bundle. Mine was seen at the age of 4 and 5. That has to do with a snake. And I know a lot of people are very iffy on how that is, well, their beliefs with certain snakes. So this was a rattlesnake and then a non-rattlesnake at the age of 4 and 5. So my dad had known that I had the medicine bundle and that I had carried the spiritual gifts that would come down from my father and my grandmother and my other ancestors. Growing up, the elders watch you and they see what criteria and what potential you have. Whether they pray you down, whether they pray for you, whether they're in a vision, whether they're in a sweat lodge, whatever they're being told by their ancestors, their spirit guides, or their elders, you start to get looked upon and you're groomed at a very young age. And then they know who their successor is. I have 4 sons. 2, one is a sergeant in United States Marines, one is corporal in United States Marines, and then I have a 20-year-old and then a 16-year-old. I didn't have a choice at the time to pick my successor. It was already chosen through a vision from my father. And that vision that he had, I didn't have any children at the time. He had told my sister that the successor, the next chief, would be one of his grandsons who was in the military. So that was already chosen for me. I don't have that piece. I can pick the rest, I already know who has the medicine bundle and so on and so forth, but that part I couldn't. So the clan mother, I'll give out a few details, but kind of to sum it up, it's kind of like the president of the United States, the overseer, principal of the school, headmaster. I get the last say so, the last signature, the last vote. Everything comes across my desk, counseling, keeping the history alive, doing the teachings for the next generation, all of the medicine, funerals, weddings, whatever the case may be, everything and everyone has to come. Basically, it's like asking for permission. The clan mother chooses everybody's roles, appoints, and just kind of just keeping all of the history alive. There's many things that as a tribal leader, people will test, and even my own family members have done it, and I'll call them up and I'll be like, hey, so how was that meeting today? And they'll be like, wait, how'd you know that? So we have like eyes and ears everywhere, but basically that's, it's like the big overseer. It's a big responsibility. Good days, bad days. I get tons of emails. It's a 7-day kind of thing. It's just go and go and go. It's traveling. So yeah, it's a lot, but I wouldn't trade it for anything. So, what is your core spiritual beliefs and values? What is the source of those beliefs and values? So for us, it would be like Mother Earth, Great Spirit Creator. It'd be Father Sky, our grandmothers who pray us down. The stars are our ancestors. So it's our grandmothers who would, pray us down. We would come from them. So that is our main. What are the most important challenges or goals of the Pugwasa people? And for me as a clan mother and tribal head leader, it's identity. Basically, it's your identity and keeping the reservation. So for having a reservation, if we were to get up and leave the reservation vacant for like a month, the state of Connecticut has all the right to come and just take it. It's like no longer ours. So as an American Indian, someone from the tribe has to be living at all times on the reservation. My father's full-blooded American Indian. He's also African American from our Eastern Cherokee side. My mother is not, but she was, I wouldn't say raised, probably like groomed when she met my father on the Red Road. So my mom, in order for my mother to stay living on the reservation and my father passed away, she either had to be there at our will, like the Pugwasset people's will, an American Indian from the tribe had to be living there, or she had to marry someone from the Pugwasset tribe again in order for her to live on the reservation, because she's not American Indian. And again, American Indian, someone from the tribe has to be living on the reservation for that. Our like future generations and our history is what is mostly our main important of keeping it all together, is knowing that history and having our next generations to come for that. What keeps the tribe together culturally and spiritually? We have our ancestors, our ceremonies, doing ceremonies, events, meetings, talks, panels, all of our teachings, getting together all year round. That kind of just keeps everything together. Because even if we're just getting together for dinner, there's a teaching there. Some, start talking, or, somebody wants to pull the drum out and start drumming, or somebody wants to go and light a fire. So there's always something there that keeps us constantly going. And that's in-house and also intertribal. So we call all the tribes in Connecticut relatives, because we're either cousins or sisters, only because of the past of all the wars and all of the times when our camps, that's what they called it back then, was camps, our reservations would be taken over. We would run to each other for safe haven and to help fight. So a lot of intermarriage, a lot of children were born. So we all call each other relatives, because Pequots and Golden Hill have had children together, Scotticoke and Golden Hill. So we're all relatives and together. So we keep that like in-house, and also we call it intertribal because we're together in that. How can we show our support for solidarity with Pugwasa people and surrounding tribes? So we call it Friends of Golden Hill, which is like our supporters. But over time and over years, we've developed great friendships with everybody. And a lot of people, they just stay in touch. It's a lot of support or bringing awareness, whether you hear all about the history and you hear all about the teachings or the tribe's name, and you speak that, or you have that on your social media or your blog, and you're talking about it with friends and family, and then just visits and getting together. And, we have our ceremonies or stuff that's open, or public events that we're always together and just staying in contact. there's some that, you know, we don't even have to see each other in person, but they'll constantly call just to check in on everybody, or they'll email and they'll send cards, and vice versa. We do the same thing. So it's not just a one way. We do it both ways. So that's usually how. And then we have a lot of people who wrote letters to the politicians, whether it's in Connecticut, whether it's in DC, depending on what the subject was. How do I feel about land acknowledgements? I'm a little 50-50 on it. It's kind of a little too late. They should have been doing land acknowledgements a long time ago. Now it kind of seems like it's a new fashion trend, you know, something that's just in style. I'm also okay with it when there's a reading about it. It's being honored for people to know that where you live, where you go to school at, where you work, where your church is people should know that. So that's where I agree on, because that's what we want. We want people to know where they're hiking at the park, to know what land it used to be. Maybe the name of the street has changed. Maybe the name of the park has changed. Instead of just reading it, we would like people to have it as a plaque or a sign or a billboard, something like that, that stands forever for people to constantly see that, whether it's on your blog, whether it's on your website. I've done a lot of speaking and removing a lot of mascots in Connecticut, only because here we are in this day and age, and we still can't have anything of our own, not even a symbol, not even a name. So things still keep having, you know, being taken away. So at least something that is shown out of respect and put up there is, you know, how I feel about that. How many members of the Pugwash tribe are there today? We have over 200 enrolled members, which are active members. We have women who give birth every year, so that's a good thing for our generations that keep coming and coming. We have to report to the state every year, so it's kind of like a yearly report. So every year, our tribal roll opens when babies are born, and we have to update that tribal roll, and that paperwork gets sent to the state of Connecticut and DEEP and Indian Affairs, Environmental. That whole department has to keep files and stuff on all the tribes and our doings and activities, and even babies being born. So even still today, we still have no privacy, and they're still in our business. So yeah. But yeah, everybody's very active. Over 200. Geographically, where are or were the traditional lands of the Pugwasit? So it goes up from Greenwich all the way up to like the border of Massachusetts line. Main areas mainly would be like Housatonic River, Fairfield County. So all of like the, you know, the Trumbull, the Fairfield, the Stratford, the Bridgeport. Back. There's a map where the dates are kind of wrong on it, but at one point in time, Connecticut has like about 16 to 18 tribes, and it says all the different tribes' names, where they camped, where they fished, hunted, you know, where everybody was. And then, of course, government comes in and they dismissed all of them, and it's just the 5 tribes now. New Haven County alone has 2,500. You'd be surprised. Quinnipiac used to be the whole New Haven County, but they took that away, gave it to Pugwasit. Seymour, the town of Seymour, it was Pequot. Scattercoke and Pugwasit, they just took, you know, so it all depends on where each land area was, but mainly that section of like Fairfield, Trumbull, Stratford, Bridgeport, mainly of a lot of our camps. How many members of Pugwasit tribe were in the 1600s and 1700s? How big were there? So it was thousands. We have old documents and old census records. Very old, very fragile paperwork. You have to be careful holding it. We keep it like in a special like material or plastic. Gloves. You need a magnifier glass and the light to kind of understand a lot of the wording and handwriting. Not a lot of our members knew how to read and write. A lot of it was symbol. My father, even up until the day he died, he still signed his name as in symbols under his name. So a lot of our census records that go all the way back from like 1800s and 1700s, they all kept, when it was time or able to, a lot of records and documents were kept kind of like journals and diaries. And it's very old, and all that got passed down to even till today. We still keep journals, we still keep writing in notebooks and filing, and that's how we teach a lot of our youth to always write everything down, every little thing down, because that's how you're keep passing those books and history down. We also had over 100 wigwam homes. So in each wigwam, there was two families each, out of those thousands of my ancestors. Are there important events, celebrations, and ceremonies? Yes. So we have powwows, we have grandmother moon and moon cycles, we have sweat lodges. It all depends on the seasons. For example, grandmother moon, American Indian tribes, we have 3 Thanksgivings throughout the whole year. And everyone else has one. So there's like strawberry moon. So all of that, harvesting moon, all of that is ceremonies. And those are all events, and those are gatherings and getting together. We honor, like, we come from the Black Bear clan. So every October before hibernation, we have to have a ceremony for the bear. Different foods are put out. We have to sample the foods. There's praying, there's singing, there's dancing. So there's a lot of things, and we go out to the woods where bears are, and we have to place certain things. So there's many things, and a lot of those is open to the public unless it's in-house and it's something private where it can only be that tribe or intertribal for a number of reasons. Are those events exclusively for Wigwasa people or indigenous people? So I kind of answered that in the last question. And are you fighting for denial of federal recognition? Yes. So we've had it at one point. We meet all 7 criteria plus more. But when it comes to the government, politicians, and all comes down to money and, basically politics, they kind of say, okay, well, we need this. So they'll find any little thing that you have to provide. So every little thing they asked for, they got, plus more. So they ran out of stuff to ask. So we've had it, and they give you like this preliminary probation period, 60-day, 90-day, things like that. So, and this just wasn't our tribe. So on the worst day you could ever imagine, Columbus Day, is how they revoked the federal recognition on that day. Yeah. They even the Pequots, they actually hit them with just a fax and a fax machine. So, but yeah, that's how it goes. So under oath and in court, Blumenthal did say that we were a real legitimate American Indian tribe. So when Obama was in office, and it's in like the Connecticut Mirror News online. So 2016, 2017, all the politicians in Connecticut wrote letters out to Washington, D.C. to stop the federal recognition process. And what happened was the Bureau of Indian Affairs, now it was only for Connecticut, where they put a ban that if you applied for a federal recognition, you could no longer apply again. And that ban hit the whole entire United States. It was only supposed to be for Connecticut, but they ended up doing that to everybody. So other people got hurt in our kind of situation, crossfire kind of thing. So we're actually fighting that now. There's a judge in DC who gave the Bureau of Indian Affairs 3 different dates. One was August, one was December, and then January, that they had it till a certain time to remove that ban so that tribes could. And it's not just our tribe fighting it. There's many. So we're still fighting that. I wrote these questions kind of backwards, so forgive me. So, what are some cultural similarities or differences with Prograsa tribe and other tribes? So you'll see a lot of similarities, but you also see a lot of differences. So there's a lot of similarities when it comes to like dancing, songs, food, some stories, certain spirituality, do's and don'ts, certain cultural beliefs, and then languages. And then there's some that are different. And it could be different. 3 words might be different out of the teaching or the story. Or how to start something. So it's not even like a full 100% difference, but you'll see a little things like, wait, you do it that way and Prograsa does it this way, but it's still kind of like the same process of subject. How and what are children of our tribe taught about their history? So a lot of it, our histories from our ancestors' times have always been taught through song, dance, storytelling, and ceremony. Pictures, taking them around to certain areas, places. We start back like at first contact. So there's many books that are out. My father wrote books. I wrote a book. We have the Stratford Devil book. So it all goes back to like our first contact in Milford when the first sachem and the son had landed. So we show all that. We read all those documents. Again, a lot of that stuff was handwritten, and we were able to have it translated where it was now typed out so that all that history from back can be sent over and replayed for everybody. And they're groomed at a very young age, very young age. Children are groomed at. What would you like as a me? Most like me, like everybody here. I'm just trying to read the question the best I was. And my friends at UUCD to know, understand, and appreciate about Pugwasa people. We're a very, very strong, strong bloodline that have been here for a very long time. We're still here. A lot of people think that everyone's gone off in like a black and white cowboy movie and everyone's everyone's gone, and you know, our history, our memories, and just keeping our name alive. Um, our people, a lot of people remember our people were very strong, prominent people. We had farm stands at the end of the roads. My grandmother did apple cider moonshine. A lot of people used to tell me she used to walk around with like a suitcase full of money on the trolleys. And my dad rode horses bareback. They had a lot of farming. They had a lot of horses. So a lot of people in those times growing up has remembered a lot of that were not part of our tribe, but knew a lot of the stories and a lot of histories. But just that we're still here. Our name is, you know, you type my name in or the tribe's name and we come up all over social media. I'm working on the school curriculum for the past couple years, our tribe and the other 4 tribes. So we've been bouncing around from town to town to teaching all the teachers the school curriculum for the new history books. We place that. It's on stateofconnecticut.gov, all our information, or like a quick description. So you're more than welcome to follow a lot of links, our creation story, our website, even just the stateofconnecticut.gov. There's a section about us. So we're here. Like we want everyone to know that, and to just pass that word on. Like I said, many people think that, you know, we've kind of gone off, but we're not. We're still here. So and that was it for the questions.
Grandmother, can I just say, we've been saying Pugusset. You're saying Pugwasset. Teach us to say it correctly.
Pugwasset.
Pugwasset.
Pugwasset. Pugwasset. Yeah. Yeah. So the word Pugwasset means where the river widens for us. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Oh, okay. Yes. So, as a medicine woman and man and a spiritualist, a lot of us are born with different gifts. So, we still use and live off the land and on the reservation. There's many medicines. So, we use a lot of it for healing, cleansing, protection. There's a lot of oils, a lot of rubs, a lot of tinctures, a lot of teas, rubs, things that we still make. Some stuff is very intense. It depends on what's happening to someone or in their life, where it could be a closed off ceremony because they could be passing out, they could be convulsing. So a lot of that stuff is kind of closed off and is very intense, where a lot of our medicine that we have in our medicine bundle in our bag could just be stones, it could just be feathers, and it has spirits. So we bring out a lot. So there's a lot of good things in that, and there's a lot of bad things. There's divination, there's messages, there's dream medicine that we have where we decode messages and dreams. Before COVID came around, I warned everybody about it, to provide. It wasn't just me, it was other people, stocking up. We were making medicines, and there's certain things for like cedar. We would put cedar in our pocket in our shoe so to ward it off so that we wouldn't catch it. So there's a lot of different medicines and things that we still do living off the land and helping a lot of our elders. But again, I know it's like a touchy subject in a lot of ways, but there's a lot of good and a lot of bad with it. And it's a lot of conjuring, it's a lot of herbals, a lot of root workings. It's all spiritual. So like I said, with my spiritual gifts and my medicine bundle, I had to deal with a rattlesnake and a non-rattlesnake at the age of 4 and 5. So, and I know snake things are a lot of touchy subjects because a lot of people in churches think that it's automatically, the devil. But I'm good. I'm still here, even playing with it at that age.
If there are other questions, I think we should take them. Do we have we got a wireless mic so that
You can have
folks,
mine.
Yeah, so that folks on Zoom can hear the questions? That would be great.
Does anyone else have a question? I'll bring the mic to you.
So just a couple of terms I'm curious about, because you said pray down versus pray. I wonder what that distinction is. And when you talk about dealing with snakes and rattlesnakes, was like, what was that? Was that a process? Like, what? I'm not really clear what you're referring to.
Yep. So praying down is they pray us down. They pray us from the sky world. So we get prayed down. So even though my mother gave birth to me, my grandmother would always say that I come from her. That I'm her, that I'm from her, even though my mother gave birth. So yeah. And so as for the snake, my father was a very, very strong, powerful medicine man. Like he could walk through like Father Panic at 2 a.m. and people would be like, Mr. Piper, like he was, yeah, he was, they called him a legend worldwide. He was very strong, very powerful. So my father had a rattlesnake, and he does beadwork, and all his beadwork is medicine is put inside the beadwork in the loom, and he has taught us all that. So he had a dead rattlesnake for days, weeks, and he beaded the skin and the tail and all that from head to tail and the beadwork. So our neighbor that across the street, he worked as a teacher in Monroe High School, and he thought it was cool. He wanted to bring it to his class and show his, kids. So my dad let him take it, and he had a German Shepherd, and the German Shepherd constantly kept barking at it. And then the rattlesnake the belt started to shake, and the head swelled up on the belt. And this is just the skin and the tail, like it's already dead. It's been dead for a couple days, weeks, And the German Shepherd got a hold of it. There was nothing left to the loom. Unfortunately, insurance got involved. Wife died. This is like serious. My dog died. So it kind of put a big damper on my dad and the neighbor's relationship for a while. The neighbor knew what he was getting into. My dad, pre-warned him, but they eventually settled it, insurance. My dad didn't even care about the money. I still have the beaded print. Everything that my father beaded was on a graph with colored pencils, everything he beaded. So I still have that. And then a couple days later, I was sitting in the living room playing, and here came the snake. So, and I picked it up and I was playing with it. And I said, Dad, look, he came over and grabbed it really quickly and told my sister that, we don't know why spirit chooses who they choose. And, and nothing happened to me playing with that snake for a while, just diddle-daddling, playing with it. My dad took it, and yeah, that was it. And they knew then I had the medicine bundle and gift. So it came back somehow, right in the house. Yeah. Yeah.
When you said that someone must be on the reservation at all times, I'm assuming that's a government-imposed requirement. It's not a tribe imposed
Correct.
requirement.
Correct. Hmm.
First of all, thank you.
Hmm.
I grew up like most American kids. I grew up like most American kids, thinking about tribes, never clans. Did the book? Is there a going back and back and back where there was a tribe that's divided and therefore other clans? How far back?
Yeah, our clan, we just still have one. We have many like last names, but we're still one whole clan, the Black Bear clan. But you will find other tribes that are different clans and they might be broken up into fours, but they're still like one tribe. But ours is no, we're still one hold. It's not a good idea to break up like that. The government watches that. They really wouldn't care. You know, they laugh at you, but it's a lot harder for you to get back or achieve or try to look for whatever it is that you're trying to achieve or get back because the government sees you as broken up into 4 groups, 5 groups, and he thinks that you're just all fighting each other and you're all walked away from each other. You're all are separated now. So it causes a lot more. It's just not good to do that.
Thank you.
Hmm.
Thank you for your beautiful presentation.
Mhm.
I said, thank you for a beautiful presentation. What was my question? You mentioned there are about 200 members on the reservation.
Tribal, like enrollment.
Right.
Enrollment, yeah.
But are there also people who are not members and live there?
No, just my mom. No, me and my family live there. My husband, my kids, well, my kids that are young live there, but the rest are.
So if they're not members, do they live outside, like anywhere, USA?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hi. Also, I'll say thank you. It was lovely. I think American Indian history is just so important. It's just wonderful that our committee got you to come here. I'm wondering how the children, how do your children react to what is taught in the general public schools about American history? I mean, they go to the public schools where you live, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So how do they handle that?
I used to get called for school meetings all the time because my kids would tell them, well, no, that's not how we were taught. That's not what we do. I'm not doing this worksheet and I'm not doing this homework. And then they'd get like projects and reports to do. And that was a no-go. So I would write notes on their work and I'd ask them, can you please excuse, and I used to get called to school meetings all the time because they would try to, smooth it out and, this and that. But I was just, firm, like, no, you're not teach it right or don't teach it at all. And my son should be excused from this. They know this and know that. But yeah, they do that. Now, because of the school curriculum, we get asked to go to schools to put presentations on. Starting from like pre-K preschool, whether it's craft making or pictures or dance or storytelling, all the way up to college and university. And then my son who's in the high school, the teachers just keep having us come, me and a good friend of mine from Mohegan. So we're just kind of going around to the schools. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
It's about time. Melanie.
What would you like to see written on that plaque, and where would you like it to be, if you could say? Would it be inside, or would it be by the road?
You know what? Anywhere, so that anybody could see it all the time. I just want people to know that this was like Golden Hill Pugwaset land. So that anything with that they trailed, that they hunted, that they lived, just for people to know back in 1700 or what have you, that it was native land that they're walking on.
Would you help us word it when the time
Oh,
comes?
yes, definitely. For
wonderful.
example, Indian Wells. You go to Indian Wells in Shelton and you'll see Pugwaset everywhere. It's just everywhere. They have it, our old stones where it's carved. They have it on trees. They have signs. They have plaques. I mean, it's everywhere you look in Indian Wells and Shelton. It's just all over. So people know the story and history behind that. Mhm.
Is that a hand up, Anya? No. Okay. Anybody else? Guess that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Please join me in the words to extinguish our chalice.
We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts and out into the world until we are together again.
I didn't know if I was waiting for someone to come up speak. My apologies. Honorable ancestors, known and unknown, the Creator and our Mother Earth, may you guide me and us to work the land and care for the land with love and grace. May I and we place my healing hands into the soil with a good positive aura and energy into the land of earth so it may heal. Aho. And the word aho for us is like amen or thank you, depending on how we use it.
Aho.